What is up, guys? It's your boy Britt VR. Welcome to the show. Behind me is my website. I have tons and tons of free content about cryptocurrency passive income. If you want to learn, go check it out at the end of the video. Also, guys, today I was in my car and I was listening to this on Fox Business.
And then secondly, you talk about Facebook putting this product out. If Facebook is able to ultimately resolve all of your...
So there was a huge hearing today about Libra coin and cryptocurrencies with the White House. But before we get to that, let's go over here and check out this Bitcoin price since that happened. It happened. This is a 5-minute chart. So let's go to an hour chart real quick. So a couple of hours ago, let's say around here, this time right here, and it dropped and it went back up. Now, if you guys looking at this chart and trying to figure out what I'm using the Martin Stochastic. This is a great tool. I use this to trade. It is fantastic. I made a couple of trades. I just got it, this indicator, but I made multiple trades and it's fantastic. So let me just explain this to you how this works real quick. So you have a Stochastic down here, and behind this Stochastic, I'm gonna call it ST. Behind the ST, because I am horrible at saying this word. You have a green and a red, and the green is when the trend is going long, and the red is when the trend is going short. Let me put this to 5 minutes for you guys. And as this green line crosses this red line going up, that means to buy. And when it comes down past this green line, that means to sell. So you want to buy when the green line past the red line going up when it's green in the area, and you want to sell or short when it's in the red area. Let me move over here and see how we get a good short. This is a good short right here. So when it's in the red area and the green line passes the red, and I made a couple of trades and I've been pretty dominant with it. So I am very fond of this. Okay, guys, very, very fun. If you guys want to get this indicator, the link is at the bottom of the description. So Trump came out with a tweet like a couple of days ago saying that he really doesn't like Bitcoin and he's against Bitcoin. And I know that since Libra came out, everybody is like, cryptocurrencies are dangerous. We really don't want these big companies getting into this and making their own currency. They're really, of course, they're trying to protect the US dollar, the global coin, but this is a threat to them. Libra could be a global coin as Bitcoin is right now. So let's listen to this real quick. This is only like 5 minutes long, and see what they had to say.
You're famous on Twitter now.
Right, I think people have shown my progression in the 5. I'm between 4 and 5. I think 4 is where you're a believer, 5 is where you're just not so evangelist, where you're pounding the table every day.
You're an official Bitcoiner.
I'm at about 4. I think I'm at about 4.5. I'll tell you what Trump said. I think I could explain it to him where he'd understand Bitcoin and totally change his mind. But what he said about Facebook, I tend to agree with. They are creating something a bank would create. They keep the float. It's based on the dollar. There's nothing crypto about it. So I'm glad he doesn't like Libra. I just wish he understood Bitcoin.
Yeah, look, the best parallel I can come up with is Napster, right? When you think of file sharing back, 25 years ago, which was a lot of people didn't like it, but it was easy to shut down in that there was a company behind it, right? There was a CEO to go and put pressure on. That's very similar to what Libra is experiencing now, right? There's Facebook to go after. There's other corporations that are participating that you can pressure and regulate. With Bitcoin, there is no CEO, there is no headquarters. You can't send a letter or call somebody in for a hearing. And so I think that the completely decentralized nature of the asset is what makes it so compelling to people. And we're seeing that kind of play out right now. And it's really highlighting the beauty of Bitcoin.
I mean, think of the Winklevi. I mean, after that movie, it's like, you guys should just go away and keep your 50 million or whatever. But they didn't. And Tyler's quote, I read that and I said, that sums it up. And his quote is that, I read it earlier.
Mathematical framework, yeah.
The mathematical framework has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with devaluing the currency. It has nothing. No one can. Can Bitcoin be regulated? How would you regulate Bitcoin?
Yeah, so there's two components, right? You can regulate the ownership, so they could ban the outright ownership of Bitcoin. They could say that it's illegal for what India's done, right? It's illegal for financial institutions to support crypto companies, right? Kind of cut off the dependency on the legacy financial system. You can't change the monetary policy. You can't change the algorithm that governs the asset unless you have over 51% of people agree to change it. And that's just not going to happen. And so I think that what we're seeing is Bitcoin itself has grown in such a decentralized fashion that it's just too big to fail at this point.
I think policymakers are not going to want to destroy it either or prevent ownership of it either, as they finally understand that you could take the friction of transferring money to whomever, you can take it to zero. Like Amazon took retail to zero. You can take that. Do you know how powerful that would be to take that to zero?
Unless it puts the Western Unions of the world out of business.
Well, it's going to put a lot of people out of business.
Right, and it causes job losses, et cetera. And then where do you think the politicians are going to stand then?
These are the kind of things this is the kind of creative destruction.
Trying to stop
the machine, the industrial age.
Yesterday was such a big day in that you have to remember, gold, for example, is a $7 trillion asset. It's been around for thousands of years. Bitcoin is $200 billion. It's been around for 10 and a half years. And we have the Federal Reserve chairman talking about their alternatives to each other. Then you have the president coming out and acknowledging it, right? Talking about it. If you had said 10 and a half years ago, the president of the United States is going to be tweeting about magic internet money, we would have never, ever envisioned that day. And so I think that what we're seeing is a shift in what we trust. Do we trust the humans or do we trust the algorithm?
Anthony, if it got to the point where it had a value where it was being used for a bigger percentage of global commerce and transactions, you can only have 21 million coins. Have I got that right?
That's correct.
How much would you need in total market cap to satisfy to utilize this as a currency, and what would that put an individual Bitcoin at? What kind of price is that?
Yeah, if you look at the different arguments that are out there, right? If it's just going to replace gold or kind of be comparative, it would be about 7 trillion. The global money supply, call it
80, 200 billion.
Trillion, 200 billion. Now, there's an argument that because it is a disinflationary, deflationary asset, what ends up happening is when you have U.S. dollars, right? What you're done is you're incentivized to take your wealth out of dollars and put it into store value assets, real estate, art, etc. If all of a sudden the core unit of account, the currency that we use, is actually a deflationary asset, you no longer are incentivized to move that wealth out of the currency, and you just leave it there. And so, as we've seen across a lot of technology companies, Uber, Airbnb, et cetera, they're market expanding technologies, right? It's actually opened up the market cap. And if that happens to money, what we could see is, let's say that we go from an $85 trillion market cap to $125, $150 trillion market cap, and it's stealing that market cap back from real estate, art, et cetera. You start talking about, Bitcoin being in the $8, $9, $10 million a coin. That's not going to happen tomorrow, right? That's going to happen over a really, really long period of time.
One of the raps is that there's only 21 million, and you couldn't use it as currency. Why couldn't you slice each Bitcoin into millions? I mean,
you can.
There's one of them. I think there's a certain amount. It's called a kernel. There is. I want there to be. Anyway, the Satoshi is one, right?
Yeah. So
I'll get you one. The Melissa. You know what?
There's one Bitcoin can be broken down into 100 million Satoshis, right? So it's highly divisible.
But why couldn't you do that?
Well, you can.
Buy a piece of gum with a Bitcoin. Anyway, Anthony, they're yelling at me. They don't appreciate it back there. I don't get it yet.
We're waiting for your wallet address to go up on Twitter so people can send.
That's where it gets complicated, because I've never even used one of those little things you stick into.
Debit card?
No,
USB stick.
USB thing. I thought it was a keychain. I got one in a swag bag. I say, look at this ugly keychain. I don't even know what it is. Anyway.
All right, guys, that is hilarious. That guy said he hasn't used the USB. Like the guy said that was being interviewed, there is somebody that the government can go after. Bitcoin is so decentralized that you can't go after the person who made it. They don't even know who made it. All they know is of a name of Satoshi Nakamoto. It's so decentralized. And that is why it is so big. So this is the big news that came out today. The Steve Mnuchin, he had a press conference talking about cryptocurrency regulations, especially Libra. And let's just listen to about 10 minutes of it, and then I'll stop boring you guys, all right?
Money transmitters of cryptocurrency must comply with the relevant Bank Secrecy Act obligations, known as BSA, and register with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, known as FinCEN. Many people are not familiar with FinCEN. It is a bureau of the U.S. Department of Treasury. FinCEN's mission is to safeguard the financial system from illicit use, combat money laundering, and promote national security through the dissemination of financial intelligence. Last year alone, it collected over 20 million BSA reports and has collected over 300 million in the last 11 years. FinCEN implements the Bank Secrecy Act's regulation and has federal regulatory, supervisory, and enforcement authority over money service businesses and banks. The rules governing money service providers apply to physical and electronic transactions alike. As money service businesses, cryptocurrency money transmitters are subject to compliance examinations just like every other U.S. bank. To be clear, FinCEN will hold any entity that transacts in Bitcoin, Libra, or any other cryptocurrency to its highest standards. I also recently established the Financial Stability Oversight Council's Working Group on Digital Assets. This FSOC group enables U.S. financial regulators such as FinCEN, the Fed, OCC, CFTC, CFPB, SEC, and other key stakeholders to work together to combat risks posed by cryptocurrencies. As the president has said, Bitcoin is highly volatile and based on thin air. We are concerned about the speculative nature of Bitcoin and will make sure that the U.S. financial system is protected from fraud. Given the international nature of cryptocurrencies, we are also going to great lengths to ensure that effective regulation does not stop here at the U.S. border. Last month, led by the United States, the Financial Action Task Force, known as FATF, the Global Standard Center for AML-CFT, adopted comprehensive measures on how countries must regulate and supervise activities and providers in this space. This was a major step towards harmonizing international regulations concerning cryptocurrencies. We have also had extensive work at the G20, and I will be addressing this again this week at the G7 finance ministers in France. To be clear, the U.S. welcomes responsible innovation, including new technologies that may improve the efficiency of the financial system and expand access to financial services. That being said, with respect to Facebook's Libra and other developments in cryptocurrencies, our overriding goal is to maintain the integrity of our financial system and protect it from abuse. Treasury takes very seriously the role of the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency, and will continue our efforts to protect our country and secure the U.S. and global financial systems. With that, I know there's been a lot of interest in this subject and perhaps a few others, so I'll take a few questions in the back.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Two questions for you, if you don't mind. The first one is that Jay Powell at the Fed said last week that FSOC would be meeting in the future to discuss Facebook's Libra product specifically. Has that happened yet? And then secondly, you talk about Facebook putting this product out. If Facebook is able to ultimately resolve all of your concerns about AML and other issues, do you want Facebook to be in the business of issuing cryptocurrencies?
So let me make the first comment, which is either at the principals level or at the deputies level, we've had multiple meetings across the regulators with representatives of Facebook and expressed our concerns. We've also had multiple meetings of the FSOC working group. I think, Jay Powell and I meet weekly, and we've talked about this extensively. So there are these discussions going on. They will continue to go on. Again, to the extent that Facebook can do this correctly and can have a payment system, correctly with proper AML, that's fine. They got a lot of work to do to convince us to get to that place.
Can you address the problems of raising the debt ceiling?
Well, why don't I do this? I I'm sure there's a lot of interest in that as well. But why don't I take a bunch of cryptocurrency questions, and then we'll come back to you on that. I'll give you that. But you can ask a cryptocurrency question, or I'll just come back to it. Okay, I'll wait for you.
Concerns. Facebook's had privacy issues in the past. How does that play into your concern, and what is your level of concern with Facebook having Libra?
Well, again, I would just say we obviously have concerns with the privacy issues. There's been items in the press about potential settlements. I'm not going to comment on that. But obviously, the regulators, and one of the regulators, as I've said, most people haven't heard on FinCEN. So one of the reasons I wanted to explain this is whether they're banks or whether they're non-banks, they're under the same regulatory environment for FinCEN, and we will hold them accountable. And they're going to have to convince us of very high standards before they have access to the U.S. financial system.
Mr. Secretary, at the social media summit last week, the president essentially accused the social media giants of an animus against conservatives. Can you assure the markets and everyone watching that whatever action this government will take is not a result of the president's view that these social media giants are biased against it?
Well, again, what I will tell you is the president does have concerns as it relates to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and those are legitimate concerns that we've been working on for a long period of time. But no, we're not going to target any one entity. Everybody's playing by the same rules. Again, whether you walk into a money service provider or whether you walk into a bank or you do it digitally, you're going to have to adhere to the same rules.
Considering that Bitcoin is decentralized, what do you tell Americans who want to invest in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies?
Well, why don't I tell them to be careful, okay? They should be clear why they're investing in them. There's a lot of good things to invest in, obviously we know about. But, our number one issue is that, one, we don't want bad actors using cryptocurrencies. That's our number one issue. I think to a large extent, these cryptocurrencies have been dominated by illicit activities and speculation. We'll make sure that the general public and investors understand what they're investing in, and whether it's the SEC or other regulators, there's proper disclosures.
That you're comfortable with Facebook launching the currency if they do it in the right way.
I didn't say I was comfortable with them launching a currency.
If they launched it in the appropriate and in a safe way in terms of...
Yeah, but I'm not comfortable today. So let me just be careful, as I've said. They and others have a lot of work to do before they get us comfortable.
Do you have a sense of the timeline there? Is Facebook being candid with the administration about it? How many years?
I think they're being very candid with the administration and where they are. I'm not going to publicly speculate how long I think it will take them to get to the point where we're comfortable with it, but they are a long way away from. And again, part of it, there's been a lot of public interest in this. That's why I wanted to give the public the assurance, but before they or anyone else does this, that we're going to make sure the financial system is protected. And as I said, there's a lot of illicit activity that will be shutting down for people who are using cryptocurrencies for bad purposes.
All right, we're going to stop it there. So this is the first time I've really seen like the president of the United States really talked about cryptocurrencies. They had a press conference about cryptocurrencies. When I first got into cryptocurrencies, there was none of this media accessibility. Nobody really talking about it. It was just people like me and you talking to each other, and people on YouTube talking to each other. So this is bigger than what you guys should expect. So I'm going to end the video right there. Make sure you guys go check out my website, BritVR Crypto. Enjoy everything that's on my website. And, I put my heart and soul into this. So hit that like button, hit that subscriber button. Also hit the bell next to the subscriber button so it will give you a notification when I upload a video. And all you guys have a good day, and all you guys have a good night. And enjoy the crypto life. Peace.